Right.
Well, welcome to our webinar. This is Rob Heppel, and I'm here with Micah Spicer from Tukios. And today we're just going to be talking about the benefits of integrating the Tukios obituary platform with your WordPress-powered Funeral Futurist website. So, just a little bit of background. Micah and Chad and Curtis from Tukios were talking to me kind of November, December of last year, and just for the folks that wanted to maintain their WordPress website, if I'd look after them, and then they said, in that process, they said, hey, well, if you want the high-powered obituary platform, we can offer that. We've got a WordPress solution that fits right in. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think what I think we can bring with this setup is both of our history and marketing knowledge together with Tukios, their kind of cutting edge technology, and you'll see just kind of the enhanced service offerings that they can provide funeral homes and cremation providers. And this was one of the things that in my partnership with Jake Johnson, and Jake was kind of building out a obituary platform to do that, and then came up or saw what Tukios offered and was even further ahead than what he was even thinking, right? And that's how this whole transaction started, and now here we are today to just offer it to you that you can get the best of both worlds. And so I think first of all, just I'm a little biased about the WordPress platform. I've been using it for 20 years myself, and it has flexibility and customization. It has some great SEO optimization features, and how that's even going to transition to being they're now saying search everywhere optimized, right? So it's not just Google anymore. It's going to be ChatGPT and things like that. So we'll be able to easily work that in and customize your site and keep your site scalable for any future growth, and still have this user-friendly content management. And Mike is going to show though how the obituary component is also very easy to use and very powerful as well.
Yeah.
And so just if you're wondering why would we suggest this, the obituaries that we can offer directly to WordPress are fine, but I'll be the first to admit that we just don't have the power and the experience that Tukios does for the financial side of your online obituary. So selling, whether it's people purchasing flowers or planting trees or other things that Mike is going to cover. And we just wanted to let you know that this is quite easy to integrate. We just need to know that you're up for it, and we can do that. So I think at this point here, I'll pass it over to Micah, and you can continue on. Do you want to just continue using the screen here, and then we'll go to
we'll just use this screen. When I come in to demo the obituary platform, I'll request to share.
Sure.
Thanks, Robin. I really appreciate it. It's great to have an opportunity to talk about how we can help folks with a WordPress site to give them the power of the Tukios obituary platform. The Tukios Obit platform really is what is the secret sauce to the websites that we offer, and the ability to partner with other people like Funeral Futurist or Robin Heppel, and for folks that want to maintain their WordPress site and all the progress that they've gained with SEO or with certain tools and other kinds of plugins that they're using that they can't necessarily get in other places. But when they need the power of the Obit platform that Tukios offers, it's a really awesome opportunity to integrate. And it's done very, very simply on the back end, and Robin and Tukios can turn this on in a matter of minutes and import all of your obituaries over and build them into your site with a new, more powerful Obit platform on your site. So we've got a lot of intuitive tools. Robin mentioned that the search everywhere optimization is really important. One of the things that's really cool is that if you go to an Obit across the world right now, and it shows a memorial service that is on Saturday, March 8th at 11 a.m. If you search that in ChatGPT or in Grok, what you're going to find is that it's going to say the memorial service was on March 8th at 11 a.m. Because Google doesn't have the power to be able to say, hey, we can recognize past events and things that have happened, but these other AI platforms can and will and do. We've got some really interesting stuff in our Obit platform. Like we have an AI Obit writer that can facilitate you writing obits, or through our family collaboration tool, the AI Obit writer can be used by the family to help them out, to give them a start. We have AI service extraction that displays services more easily. So if you fail to actually put in the service information, we have an AI tool that will pull the service information from the obituary if it's in it, and it will suggest a service to add. This is important because it adds the service and it adds the mapping tools, but it also adds things to an events page that can be loaded up as well. You want to go to the next one, Robin?
Yep.
And this is the AI Obit tool. So once you go through the intake, through adding personal information, family life stuff, services, and life events, you can go to the generation. You can generate it in different tones, and it gives people a start. So we already talked about that a bit. We'll actually demo that a little bit later. But if we go back to the next slide, we also have integrations with anything and everything in the funeral business. Anybody who offers a tool, we integrate with. This just so happens to be Tukios Tribute Video Creation Tool. Tukios Tribute Video Creator is the best one in the market, and more people use it than any other in the marketplace because of its ease of use. Obviously, there's an integration. In it, they can go pick a theme, share a link with the family so the family can upload the pictures from their various phones, and they can collaborate all at the same time, live and in real time. Once you get your photos and videos in there, you add music, and then it automatically times it all together, and then you can preview the video and then publish it to the site. That's just one of the opportunities that we have with a Tukios Obit platform that's built in.
And Mike, can you just maybe share with the folks, because I believe, isn't there like there's like a low cost per video that you create, right?
Yeah, typically for the general marketplace, it's $20 for the creation of the video. We give people a 10% discount, so it becomes $18 when you have our sites.
Okay.
So it's not an included piece, but it's an integration.
Sure. Next slide.
Next slide. Yeah. So when we talk about integrations, we're talking about working seamlessly with different case management platforms. If you use case management like Passari, Halcyon, Osiris, ASD is the most common call center or call service that people use. We're integrated with that. We are also integrated with ASD's Watchdog, which means if somebody if they have an ASD integration and you have the ASD forms on your site, and if somebody has an at-need case that need taken care of, it'll actually send the information from that form in a voice message to the phone of the person that's on call that day, so they can call them back. Just a lot of really cool integrations like that. We have integrations with for enhanced functionality to increase, the friendly partners and aggregators by pushing out bad faith actors in SEO, like the Ecovitas or others. So we build good faith relationships with other people in the industry to push out bad actors in search results. So
that's good.
Next one. Another AI tool is the guestbook moderation. It filters out inappropriate guestbook entries using moderation. You can see this where it'll put this on the back end. You can make your settings known. So, well, you're not known, but you can adjust your settings on the back end so that if something with potentially damaging information comes through, let's just say, you know what? I'm actually we've had this happen. I'm actually the one that had the relationship with such and such who died because they might have been married in the eyes of everybody else, but I was their actual wife or husband. We've had that happen. It'll also filter that information too. But when you set your settings on the AI guestbook moderation, you can actually set it to where everything that's safe automatically publishes to the site. But anything that's flagged can be flagged and wait for user or moderator approval, which is you. Or you can actually go in and change it if there's a word that's off, but the person really wants to get that guestbook entry in there. There's lots of different settings, things you can do with the AI guestbook moderation. But it also protects you from having any malicious content go to your obituaries.
Great.
We also have built-in crowdfunding, helps families cover funeral expenses. This is key. We have, I think that the stats are 1 out of every 5 families that uses GoFundMe with a funeral home. When they collect the funds from a GoFundMe, they skip out on paying the funeral home. So we have a built-in crowdfunding platform that allows you, the funeral home, to be the primary promoter of the crowdfunding campaign, but it also gives you the money directly when that crowdfunding campaign is over, rather than giving it to the family. So if if you want to raise $6,000 and you've raised $5,200, you can guarantee that $5,200 is all going to go to you. If that crowdfunding campaign raises $7,000, that $6,000 goes to you, to the funeral home, to pay the cost of the funeral, and then the extra $1,000 that's collected can go to the family, and you're the one that actually gets the gift to turn that money over to the family. So it ensures that nobody's not dining and dashing, if you want to call it something like that.
Sure.
So let's go to the next.
Yeah, that's good.
We also have a memory links integration. This is cool because the memory links are an aircraft grade aluminum with a 3M 100-year adhesive that can be affixed to anything. You can put it on a headstone, you can put it on a niche, you can put it on a mausoleum. You can put it on an urn on the mantle of a fireplace at your home. These scannable QR codes. So people have tried to do this in the past. There's lots of companies that have come out with QR codes that they can use for the funeral business, but nobody's had the asset to back it up. Tukios obituaries are the assets to back it up. We're talking digital assets, meaning that there is a place that it goes. There's a QR code that's generated from the obit, and you know it's going to be there in the future. So when folks go to look at the QR code, it takes them to the obituary, and then it takes them and it shows them everything that you put in the obituary, any videos, any media content, any eulogies, any PDFs that you've uploaded, any kinds of other, if there was a live stream, it can show the live stream as well. It shows everything that is in that obituary forever. Well, as long as the internet exists.
Exactly.
But it's really just interesting because it's for the first company to actually have a real hard asset. Well, the hard asset is the memory link itself, but then a digital asset to back it up.
That's great.
Yeah, and they're cheap. They're $20 and you get 2 of them.
Okay, and that then directs people then back to the obit, and then from there they can see everything.
Yeah, and then you guys get to sell those for whatever you want to sell them for. So if you want to sell them for $50, you can sell them for $50, and then you make $30 on that. And it's not a whole lot, but every little bit adds.
Sure.
Usually we see return purchases after the first purchase is made, because brother, aunt, sister, so-and-so wanted a memory link as well. And
will they, so they don't need to purchase that right at the time. You can get your 2 right off the bat for the spouse, and then like a month down the road, one of the kids says, "Hey, I want one," and then the other kid says,
Yep.
"I want one too," so they can be
At any
purchased at
time.
any time. Okay. And then how
Yeah.
are they? So then, for this one, then so I want one. Then do I just can I just purchase it through the website, and or how does it get purchased?
It gets purchased in the obituary.
Okay.
So you do it as the funeral director in the obit yourself.
Okay, and then the funeral home can set the markup
Yep,
in there, and then
So it's not something that's exposed to the general public. It's only something you see
okay,
for the pricing. And we send you samples if you want to start selling them.
okay, great. Next slide.
Yeah. So we also have some really cool lead generation tools that are unique to Tukios. It's actually exclusive. I'm going to get more into those later, but we'll talk about how these leads are generated and how these campaigns are created as well.
Okay.
Next slide. Yeah. So most of these features, except for the memory links and the treat videos, are included at no extra cost. Actually, they're at no cost, period. The only thing that Tukios Obit platform is predicated upon is upon you having some kind of sympathy sales at the end, because well, not the end, but as a part of the product. Unfortunately, we can't offer it without sympathy sales. So we'll get into that and show you how that works too in a bit.
Sure. So here are some examples of funeral homes that have a WordPress website, but then have the obits done through Tukios. So, Micah, do you want me to flip it over to you?
Yeah, let's go ahead and look through some of these sites real quick, just so you guys can see the integration and how it works seamlessly and how it looks like the actual site.
Sure. So here's Sunset Funeral Home, and then if we go to the site here, so the obituaries, so we can still see when we're looking at the URL that it's still on the funeral home's website, but then when we click here into Joan's obituary, and if we watch the URL will change to obituaries.sunsetfuneralhome.com. So this is now on the Tukios platform, but the logo, the colors, they match. Obviously the photo is the same, and then we have these different the different parts here. So maybe Mike could just walk us through what the folks are seeing.
So yeah, the screen previous that had all the obituaries, that's a plugin that serves up everything that's on our database, and it goes into the main Obit site itself. So all the information you saw on the other page was information that Tukios was serving up to the viewer, and so all this information, this module is basically imported from our database through the plugin. When you go to the Obit itself, you guys actually get to choose all of the among 8 of the layouts that we've got available. You can choose any of those layouts. We have something from simple classic, which this one is. We have a more simple one that has a lot of white space. We have one that's more modern. We have a bunch of different layouts, and I'll show you guys those later. But it's pretty seamless how it works. One of the cool things about the Tukios obituary platform is that the Obit slug, or the Obit URL slug that we've got, anytime a change happens inside the obituary itself, we serve a new sitemap to Google. So if you want to say Joan Howard 94, beloved matriarch, if you want to change that to Joan Howard 94, who was a beloved matriarch and a cherished member of a community, if that text change gets added to the obituary, boom, new sitemaps uploaded to Google, so that the SEO is maintained current with them. So it helps your SEO scores. But also it's through this obituaries at sunsetfuneralhome.com, the CNAME, that it gets delivered as well, so it's associated with the funeral home. Let's go ahead and go back and just show them a couple different layouts we've got. We have, if you go, yeah, there we go. And through demo rows, you can see how it's presented in a different way. It has a different look to it. This gets to be decided by the funeral home. This is the simple layout of the Obit platform. Very minimal information. Right. This is kind of similar to Sunsets. Also uses a simple layout. Much more robust information on this obituary. Yeah. People like the simple layout a lot. You can see the service schedule here. It's already passed. You can see the guest book. And what you're seeing as you scroll down, these are also sympathy purchases that have been made by people related to Mr. Ray Vela, along with the entry or the card that was entered.
Okay, great.
All right. I mean, there's a background image behind this of a Mack truck. Maybe he was a truck driver. These are just some of the options of the obituaries. And those are just folks who have signed it. They haven't necessarily said anything. They just signed the guest book.
Okay.
Cool. So that's what it looks like in WordPress sites.
Great.
Completely. Go ahead. If you go ahead and click on the logo, Ludwig.
Pardon me?
Go ahead and click on the logo above the name. And so it has the ability to bring everything back to the site. So as far as a user sees, they're never leaving your site because they're not. They're just getting served up different modules.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, what you're explaining about having the site map, so that's uploaded to Google automatically and repetitively every time there's a change. So for the folks listening, that that's one of the major ways that we as website developers communicate with Google when there's a new page, changes to a page, and especially the key here is having a new obituary or an updated obituary. Google's notified immediately.
Yeah. And so if you can see on the right too, there's also subscription forms. They can subscribe to the Obits every day in a digest under the subscribe to Obits. When new obituaries are posted to that site, they can also subscribe to Grief Steps. So if this is somebody that's having a hard time with the death, they can subscribe to this, and every week they're going to get a message of grief support so that they can deal with this over the span of a year. Yeah.
Great.
We're good there.
Okay. Do you want me to turn things over to you?
Sure, that'd be great.
I think you can just claim it.
I sent you a request. It says host isn't allowing multiple presenters sharing for this webinar.
Okay.
So if you can find sharing and turn that on, I think it will be good.
Let's see if that...
All right, I can share now. Great, I said it. Okay, so I'm sharing my desktop with you guys. All right, so this is the back end of the Tukios dashboard. So this is where you would go. You go to manage2.tukioswebsites.com, and then you would enter your username and password and enter into the back end. At first, you're going to see a dashboard. The dashboard shows you if you have any notifications, if there's any AI guestbook moderation that needs to be approved, or you can ignore it as well. You don't have to go through this to go to other parts of the website if you need something that has to get done. And like this guy saying he was a loser, says moderation equals unsafe harassment. You can either approve it or delete it. Same thing with this one. This means that if you have the settings to approve everything, saying I love this guy. And also in Spanish as well, other languages. Then you've got, on this one, it's unsafe because the reCAPTCHA failed. And what that means is it might have been a spam bot from guys that are, and usually you're not going to see it say John will be missed. It'll usually say something else, but it comes from a test account. So that's the moderation. But like I said, secret sauce is here in the Obits. This is how the Obits show up. You can click on the Obit. This is how you actually, this Obit's already been published, but this is next steps. This is how you can get enrolled in memory links by your memory links. If you want to create a QR code for your own use, if you want to print up the full obituary or a guest book page that you want to put on the easel when people are entering into a service, if you're having services, you can use this QR code to get them to interact online as well. You can publish to newspapers, share on social media. Sending to the family is an essential step because once they get the obit in their hand, that's where they start sharing it. So we can hide next steps.
Oh, hey, Micah.
Yeah.
Can you just go back to the? I wasn't aware of this published to the newspaper. So how does that work?
So if you want to get set up with Memoriams is a company out of Colorado.
Okay.
That they can get you set up, and inside of it, you can actually just publish the obit as a whole, or just a tidbit of the obit to your local papers.
Okay.
They have most of the local papers inside their integration, and then depending on how long the obituary is and what you see there, then you'll see the full price for it.
Okay.
And you can get it, you can insert it that way rather than calling them or submitting it via email or any other ways that you do them.
And then is it billed? Can it be billed directly to the family, or is it billed to the funeral home?
So this bills to the funeral home.
Okay.
So it's basically a cash advance item that you just straight bill to them because of the posting to the paper.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So we have, I'm going to go and show you the AI obit writer. This makes this cool. We have all the options up here when you go through. This is basically like an arrangement interview. Names and relationships, any relatives you won't mention that have passed away. Services, when they are. So when you create services in here, it puts it in there. Life events, where they went to school, what their career was, if they had any military service, personality stuff, things they like to do. All this information gets entered in there. Then under generation, you can say, you know what, I'm going to make this an expressive. I'm going to generate an obituary. And you can see the obit right itself. But the cool thing is that you can go in here and you can edit anything in here.
So it's just like any AI, right? Like it's a great place to start, but then you always want to have your personal touch on there.
So we've actually added and built some tools on top of it. So it's not just a straight ChatGPT enterprise account. We do have a ChatGPT enterprise account, but what we've done is we've built some layers, some tools on top of that to help ChatGPT do a better job when it gets submitted to them at writing the obituary, because we know how to write obits and we've been doing it for a long time. And so we've got other parameters that give it instructions on how to write obits. So it's not just going straight through that to them. It's using our account, but with our expertise and knowledge and tools that we've built on top of it.
Great.
But so if you look at the obit, that's just a really great way to get it started. These are the tools that we've got in the obit platform. We have shoot videos. You can upload any YouTube videos that you've got of that person. You have the services, and in this case, you can select a preferred florist if you want to select it. Otherwise, it'll just go in a rotating, basically into a rotation. And I'll talk about the florist in a minute here. Family members. This is really neat because you can add a family member. You just add their email, their name, and it sends them an invite. And when you're in the obituary, it will show up as having another person with their icon of the first name and last name in the corner, just like it would in a Google Doc when somebody else is working on it with you. So it's fully collaborative.
Oh, great.
And then you can also set up charities. We have an integration with a company called Pledge that makes sure that the charities in North America are registered with their respective governments and that the charity is 100% legit and legal. That way you aren't on the hook for any illegal contributions that are not taxed. Crowdfunding. This is what I talked about earlier. You can create a campaign, you can set a goal. This one's goal $10,000. And then you can start using this as a mechanism to start funding that funeral if the person or the family is short on funds. Or if it's a very, very public funeral where it's a tragic loss of a highly respected member of the community, or somebody who's done a lot of charitable work, or somebody who doesn't necessarily have the funds to put it, to create any kind of crowdfunding. Guest book. You can see all the guest book entries and see everything that's there. You have the ability to set settings on there if you want to have sales on this one or not. So they say, I absolutely don't want anything sold because I want every donation to be made to such and such charitable organizations in lieu of flowers and gifts. You can do that as well. You have the ability to control that. We don't control that. We work on the honor system. And then there's the book. So the book is another item that it's a keepsake item that sells online that basically takes everything from the obituary, all the images that have been uploaded, all the guest book entries, everything that's up there, and it aggregates it into one nice, pretty book. I don't have an example to show you here right now, but the book is pretty sweet. So that's the Obit platform in a nutshell. This is one of the other tools that really sets Tukios apart because it's exclusive to Tukios. Okay, we have the ability to start doing a marketing campaign based on conversations that are happening right now on your site. So if somebody's leaving a guest book entry, you know that person left a guest book entry. If you want to market something to that person that's left a guest book entry, we use the guest book, the call to action. So what we do is you can build a campaign and put it in place in the guest book funnel, and that will put this call to action into the guest book when somebody leaves a guest book entry. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. But what happens is that makes that person marketable. So if you want to do like a pre-need plan, or if you want to market a end of year like service of remembrance, the guest book subscribers also receive that. So if somebody's put their email in wanting updates on guest book entries into that go on the obituary, they'll get an email that says a new guest book entry has been made, and then attached to that email on the bottom you'll get a call to action. It'll be whatever this is and this campaign is in this lead engine. If you want something sent to the Obits subscribers that get the digest every day, they'll get their email that says such and such have died. This is the links to their services, but below it they'll also get a call to action that says, hey, have you done a pre-planning checklist? It's whatever you want it to be. We have a whole host of tools that we can send you as well, of assets and content to get you started. Those that subscribe to the Grief Step Journey, they'll also get those in those emails. And the Obit exit intent. So let's say if somebody's on your obituaries on your site, and then they're looking at it and they move their mouse to the top left to go hit back or go somewhere else, it's a pop-up. You don't have to use any of these campaigns, but they're there, they're available. It's a pop-up that shows up on the site that says, hey, whatever you want to say. Are you leaving so soon? Have you considered planning for the future? There's lots of different options. In this one, we just have the ones. So with one of the companies we work with is FDL. It just so happens that their checklists are on the sample site because The person who was in here previous to me was playing with those as campaigns because they also use this engine. The lead engine / ad engine is very powerful, and the reason why is because it piggybacks on current conversations. I think that needs to be the main takeaway about the lead engine, and that's why it's different than what anybody else is doing. The events tab doesn't really apply. It does because you can create events and you can create tickets for those events, and you can use it in combination with the lead engine. And then you can have ticketed events or non-ticketed events. Let's say you want to have a lunch and learn, you can schedule a lunch and learn. If you want to have a blood drive, you can have people send for the blood drive, and you can market those events out. But then you can send those links in any kind of marketing campaigns that you've got going on. If you have an email that goes out to the newsletter once a month, and you have something happening and you want people to sign up for it, you can send the link that's created with the event that's created, and go there. So like, here's the annual funeral home blood drive. So that's how you create the event, and then here's the registration link that gets set up. So you can just copy that, send it in your newsletter, and people can sign up for it there. But that's pretty much it. I mean, there's so much that our website does. I just wanted to highlight the premium features of the website Obit platform that you have access to through your Funeral Futurist WordPress website. The way we derive revenue off of these sites, the way we drive revenue is we don't have a charge, is like I said before, through our sympathy sales. What we do is we work with primarily your local florists, and we get in contact with them. We have a whole floral team that is built for floral support and for building relationships and maintaining those relationships. In many cases where there have been negative relationships from the funeral home to the florists in the community based on previous providers or previous relationships, we have the ability to mend a lot of those relationships because of the transparency with which our platform services them and you. The florist gets to set the price for whatever they want to make, and then we mark that up so that 28% of the full purchase price goes back to us and the funeral home. You, the funeral home, makes 16% on everything that's sold online. If you make 2 sales online, average sale $128. Let's say that you make 2 sales per obit. That means that you're going to make 16% of $128 times 2. So 16% of $156, $256. That will go to you. So that's, let's say $34 ish. That's going to be in your pocket post obituary.
And Micah,
go ahead.
What just I know that different communities are gonna act differently, but just maybe as a ballpark, if like a 300 call funeral home was doing this, what could they expect, or what kind of range could they expect in commissions on a monthly basis?
If you're actually posting all of those 300 calls, let me look at this. I mean, you're looking in between $5,000 and $13,000 a year.
Okay, so
as the funeral homes take.
Yeah, like around $400 and up from there per month.
Yeah, around that. Yep, exactly. For a 300 call firm.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to it's going to be benefiting you. If you decide that you want the final price to be lower, the funeral home does have the option of lowering the commission percentage rate that they get, and that drops the total final price, because instead of taking 28% of the sale, let's say they want to go if the funeral home wants to go to 6%, we can drop that total final price down to there only being 18% taken out total instead of 28%.
Okay.
Of the final price. So it effectively lowers the price that the consumer would see. And this goes for everything. It goes for flowers, for trees. We have the ability to hook you up with Minky Couture, which is really nice blankets, with Funeral Home Gifts Network, with Olive and Coco. These are all different stores with Hope Kits. And you can also spin up your own personal store. If you have items that you're selling, you can spin up that store. And in that case, you usually put your percentage to 0. So you receive everything but the 12% that Tukios makes off it to fund the platform for all the data hosting, for the innovation and all the tools that we roll out. Like later this year, you're going to see a resource manager, which is really neat. And that's all I'm going to say now because I don't have a lot of details as to when. I do know it has some details as to what it does, meaning it assigns resources and assets to an obit for your firm and makes them unavailable. Like if you want to assign a car, you want to assign a certain funeral director, a certain location, so that you know that person's or those people and assets are being assigned to that obituary. It funds all things like that.
Great.
But like I said, you can also spin up your own store because there was a question that somebody had asked.
Yeah.
About
let me. I can pop over there. Just one sec.
What if it's items that we sell? We send you the order with all the information where it needs to go, and you guys send it off. And we use Stripe Connect, so money can be deposited daily, weekly, or monthly when it's collected online. It just has to clear, and that usually takes us a couple of days to clear through. So that's how that works.
Yeah. So yeah, here's just
Robin.
a question. Yeah. So what happens if someone buys an urn or a keepsake that that Tukio sells? But so what you're saying here is that the funeral home can have, like, they can also offer their own products in your overall store, right? There's going to be the floral module, there's going to be the planting of trees module, and then there could be the products module, but would actually be fulfilled by the funeral home, but it goes through the the e-commerce portion of Tukios that gets their cut. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And for anyone listening, please feel free to submit any questions. We kind of talked about this, but I just wanted to show how the URL works. So for anyone that's very kind of SEO savvy, you can see here the current obituary would be under like heppelfuneral.com/obituaries, but then with the new one with Tukios powering the obituaries, we'd have the C name of obituaries, then heppelfuneral.com. So, and as Micah said, the colors can look very similar. So to the consumer, it doesn't look like they're leaving, going to to another site, and they can easily come back to the to the main funeral home site.
Yeah, we can adjust the CSS for all of that.
Great. Perfect. So then that means then so it'd be the same, it could be the same font, the same style, the same color background, so there's not a huge contrast between the main part of the site and the obituary section of the site.
Yep.
And then we did cover the with Google and the XML site maps, so that's great. And then so just kind of in wrapping up, right? You can still stay with your WordPress obits if you want, but if what Micah shared is far beyond what we'd ever be able to do. That's not really our focus, and they've already got it set up, and it doesn't cost you anything, and you're going to get a lot more opportunities just with all the features that they have, and you can again maintain that consistent branding across both the platforms. So you really, if you're interested, and you can also talk with me or talk with Micah and find out more. There's really there's no cost, right? This is just if you want to kind of enhance your obituary module, we can get that done for your WordPress website. And then, so the only difference would be then when, some folks like to go in and tinker with their different pages and update that inside of WordPress, and so that would be under the WordPress login. But then anything to do with obituaries would be done through the Tukios obituary login, and then you'd be seeing the screens that Micah was sharing there.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. If we don't, let me just check to see if there's any additional questions. I don't see any at the moment. Not at the moment, but hey, Micah, this has been great. I think folks are going to to see the benefits of it, and each market's different, each funeral home's a bit different. So, we can just is there a when you were working out those numbers, do you have a little bit of a formula that you use, like number of calls times how do you kind of figure that out when I gave that example?
So it depends on your market, market dependent, and the way that you work. It also changes between cremation operations and full-fledged funeral operations.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a direct cremation operation, usually it's going to be much lower because there's not a whole lot of visitors to your obits, and a lot of folks in direct cremation business aren't even posting obits, period. Mm-hmm. So they might be 1,000 call firm, but they're only posting 50 to 80 actual obituaries every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're seeing 90 to 95% of their business is not even getting online.
Sure.
We encourage everybody to create an obituary for every person that has passed, because it just provides the community with a notification and then an opportunity to interact as well. So, like I said, it depends on your market. If you are in an extremely rural market that never has anybody leave town or come to town, most of that stuff is going to happen in town anyways, so you're going to see less people buy online. But if you're in a place where folks in your city, they end up moving, they're highly mobile, meaning that their children leave, and then there's more people coming into the community, you're usually going to see a lot more traction pick up outside the community for the online obit, and so you'll have people that want to buy more items. And that's on the funeral side as well. So the closer you get to full service funeral, the closer you get to the more orders you're going to have. We call it orders per notice.
Okay.
So or orders per obituary that's put out there. So it's wildly variable depending on how many obits you post, what kind of business you're in, and what kind of market that you're in.
Sure. Okay. Great. And then if anyone had any specific ones, they could always contact you and just say, hey, look, here's our funeral home. We do X number of calls. We're in this type of market. Approximately.
I can give you a pretty good guesstimate.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, hey, Mike, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you and Chad and Curtis have done. Making this work, and really look forward to continuing to working with Tukios in this, and I'm all for it. So it's entirely up to you, the customer, if you're with your website, if you want the kind of this upgraded very enhanced obituary offering, it's there for you with no extra cost for you at all. Or if it's in a place where you're just kind of happy with what you have, then that's fine too. But I think Micah did a great job of showing you all the things that Tukios can provide for you, and again at no cost.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Great. Okay, Micah. Well, this is great, and we'll be in touch. And for you, the listener, if you're interested, either reach out to either one of us, and we'd be sure to help you. Thanks a lot for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.